Trying to figure out what kind of shelter system you want? I can help you with that. What's up, backpackers? I'm Dan and welcome to Backpacking Adventures, where we talk about backpacking, hiking, and gear. If you're new to this channel and those interest you, make sure you subscribe and click on that bell notification so you don't miss a thing. Today I'm going to go over the different types of shelter systems you can choose from. When choosing a shelter system, you're going to want to consider several things. What will be the majority of the weather conditions? Will you be camping in warmer climates or will you be camping in colder climates? You also need to consider the terrain. Will there be trees? If not, a hammock's not going to work for you. If there are trees and the ground's going to always be rocky or uneven, then a tent might not work for you. There are several options out there. There are your regular tents. There's tarp camping, hammock camping, even bivvies. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the tent. The tent is the most common shelter used by backpackers. The types of tents are freestanding, non-freestanding, single-walled, and double-walled. Freestanding tents are very common. These are usually double-walled and set up with a pole system. And they usually don't need to be staked down. You can even pick them up and move them around to another location. Non-freestanding tents either always need to be staked down or have certain areas that need to be staked down. And these can't be moved when put up without taking out stakes. Or the configuration of the tent will not be correct unless it's staked down. A double-walled tent means just that. There are two walls. There's one wall that's usually the bug netting and the floor of the tent, and the other wall is the rain fly that goes over top. The rain fly usually goes over top of the poles. This leaves space between the netting and the rain fly, which allows for air circulation to reduce condensation. A single-wall tent is a tent where there are no separate pieces. The bug netting is connected directly to the roof. These are not usually freestanding, as most of them don't usually use a pole system to set up. They use something like a trekking pole or a stick to set them up. All these tents have different models for different weather conditions. The most common and the most versatile is one for 3 seasons. There are tents out there that are meant for colder conditions. These are usually made of a thicker material. They're more durable and able to stand up to wind and the cold. For winter months, where I live in central Pennsylvania, a 3-season tent is going to get you down to what you need. And that's usually between 20 degrees and up. If you go out and buy a tent for deep cold conditions, you're not going to be able to use it in warm weather because it's going to be too hot. Next, we're going to talk about a hammock. Hammocks have become very popular over the last several years. They're very comfortable to sleep in and they're versatile. They can be deployed in almost any place, and all you need is 2 trees anywhere from 15 to 20 feet apart. And they can be used in areas that are totally unsuitable for tents. A downside to them is if there's no trees, you can't set up a hammock. Hammocks are not so straightforward to set up. Therefore, as a new backpacker, there's going to be a significant learning curve. So if you try this option, make sure you give yourself time to get proficient at setting it up. There are 2 types of hammocks, a gathered end hammock and a bridge hammock. The gathered end hammock is usually a single piece of fabric where each end is gathered with a continuous loop, which is then used to connect to the suspension system. A bridge hammock is one where you put a spacer in each side of the hammock, which makes a completely flat lay. There are hammocks with bug netting attached, hammocks without the bug netting, and hammocks with removable bug netting. There are hammocks with a ridge line, hammocks without a ridge line. I prefer hammocks with a ridge line. A ridge line is a section of cord that is about 83% of the length of the hammock. The main point of this is it allows you to get that perfect hang, so you ultimately can lay in the hammock correctly and have a good night's sleep. Hammocks use a suspension system to hang from trees. There's several different kinds of suspension systems. There's a rope, daisy chain, whoopee sling, and cinch buckles. Rope can be used, but is not good on the tree, so I would not recommend using rope. Rope digs into the trees and destroys the bark. A daisy chain is a piece of nylon with loops sewn into it that you can connect the hammock with a carabiner. You can adjust the height by selecting different loops. The loops are at fixed position, so you're limited at the height you can do, and you can't fine-tune the adjustments. A whoopee sling is rope that goes in on itself, kind of like a Chinese finger cuff when you were a kid. They are easily adjusted by sliding it back and forth. With a whoopee sling, you're going to need a tree strap to go around the tree. Whoopee slings are the lightest option. Cinch buckle is the most versatile option in my opinion. There are buckles that are used with straps. These are fully adjustable from the hammock to the tree, which allows you to have the most ability to fine-tune your height. If you choose a hammock, you're also going to need to get a tarp to keep you dry. Hammock tarps come in many sizes and shapes. from rectangle to hexagon, and they come in all kinds of materials. You want to make sure the tarp you purchase is big enough to cover your hammock. My hammock is 11 feet, so the tarp I chose was 12 feet. This makes sure I got coverage on all sides, left and right and front and back. Next is a tarp. A tarp is simply a single piece of material. It is basically a tent without a floor or a bug net. They come in different shapes, including rectangle and a hexagon. They can be pitched between two trees. You can use trekking poles, you can even use sticks. They can also be pitched in many different shapes and configuration based on your needs. Tarps are by far the lightest option because all you have is a tarp. If you choose a tarp, you're going to need something to lay on the ground. You can use Tyvek or a piece of nylon flume. That works as well. You can also purchase a standalone bug net that you can connect to the trekking poles or the sticks or the trees. Tarps do take a little time to master, so if you're going to pick a tarp, make sure you do your research. Next is a bivy or a bivy sack. Basically, this is a very small tent. It's a personal size shelter. It is small and lightweight, and it basically only covers you and your sleeping bag. It is basically just a sleeping bag protector that is slightly larger than your sleeping bag. Bivvies are very lightweight and they take up little room. But make sure you take into account that they have very little space and size before you pick one. Tell me the type of shelter you want to try in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching, see you next time, and go explore.